Hey guys, welcome back to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson, and our final episode in this series on the entire contest diet approach. So not really talking about peaking or peak week through this, but we've made it all the way through. You know, if you had started dieting 6 months ago or even a year ago, now we're in that final transition toward peak week. And I know what defines this for me, Adam, if I've had the opportunity to go through all 5 phases with a client, is now peak week just becomes a nice, simple, linear, progressive load, no surprises. I've got all those variables heading in the same direction. So homeostatically, I'm not having to worry about rebounds back and forth and track, you know, exactly what's happening. We've got our eye on that final target, and it's so much easier to hit. So I've got a couple client examples, but I want to hear you first kind of describe how you transition from, you know, day 7 before the show into, you know, that final process.
Yes. So day 7, you know, we're just kind of taking some of the data from the fine tuning phase into that peak week and basically setting them up for the hopeful win. But with my clients especially, I find that it's best if I, you know, don't really change a whole lot of variables. If they're looking great that whole week, why would I chance, you know, a super high carb load? It nearly becomes, sometimes it's so exact that you're nearly bypassing like a tentative peak week, so to speak, because you've been nailing everything so perfectly. Now, the biggest thing you have to watch for that is potential metabolic changes. If their metabolism keeps getting higher as carbs go faster, they can dip into some flatness, actually. So it's really just more of a managing process versus an actual peak. They already have glycogen stored really deeply in the muscle cell. There's going to be some turnover with training, but if you have them relax on that training, you should see less of that turnover, and they should stay pretty consistent all week. So it ends up just being a really easy peak and a really predictable result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you guys watching and listening, if you are not familiar with our Peak Week series, check that out because we dive into all the details. But, you know, Adam is exactly right. When I'm working with a client and I've been very successful at getting them through that metabolic building phase, we've fine-tuned, and now we're planning peak week. You know, I still will be kind of conservative. I know I'm going to shoot for that progressive linear load, but a couple clients of mine competing in Canada this weekend, I did do that. I had a nice conservative slope, but as you said, Adam, because we've done everything so well, even with a little bit reduced activity, letting them relax a little bit, you know, all of a sudden their body weight started coming down 1 pound, 2 pounds, even after all of that increased food through the metabolic building phase. And so now all of a sudden I get to say, you know, hey, I know we had planned on a carb increase tomorrow, but let's do that today. Hey, I know we had, you know, we did one yesterday. We got to do even a little bit more today. And that's a really good position to be in when you can start escalating people into the final days of peak week and just, you know, how valuable that can be. I'm not sure if you experience the same thing on your end.
Absolutely. And plenty of times. The biggest thing is why I make a change on peak week is explain to a client that that's not a bad thing. We're changing to make you look better. So they feel like something's wrong if something changes. And very rarely do I just nail it where I'm not making a change. You know, I wish I could say I'm that good, but we're watching, you know, daily for those changes. And sometimes we will move those maybe planned higher days up a day early, or we may dip down a little later just because we're so full we need to come down off of maybe a little bit of spillover. So it's just really making those fine-tune adjustments and bringing somebody in perfectly. But exactly like you said, I see tons of clients in that final week just because of resting and relaxing and having lower stress hormone. They do start dropping a little bit and maybe get a little bit flatter. You have to add just a little extra.
Yep, perfect. And guys, we covered a lot of ground in this series, the entire contest diet methodology and approach series. And we're going to start doing some smaller topics, some one-off things. So thanks for hanging in there through this entire series. Look forward to a lot of individual nuanced topics as we get into how to make you look your best for that photo shoot, for that contest, for that first show, maybe your first pro world title. A lot of things coming up. Adam, thank you so much for being with me in this. And for you guys in Contest Prep University, we will see you next time.
Thank you.